passion and rage.
I was driven by impulse, passion, and rage.
Mahmoud was always the only one
Mahmoud was always the only one
who could ground me
who could ground me
and keep me calm
and keep me calm
and remind me to stay rational
and remind me to stay rational
and to channel our anger into strategy.
and to channel our anger into strategy.
From day one, he has been the backbone of our community.
He has been the backbone of our community.
Back then, there were so few of us
There were so few of
that
us.
we could all fit into a small room in someone's apartment.
We could all fit into a small room in someone's apartment.
And from the very beginning,
And from the very beginning,
Mahmoud did exactly what Columbia admin claims to want from us.
Mahmoud did exactly what Columbia admin claims to want from us.
He was unmasked at every protest.
He was unmasked at every
He
protest.
never raised his voice.
He never raised his voice.
He was always careful with his words.
He was always careful with his words.
He never showed fear.
He never showed fear.
He extended grace even to those who dehumanized him.
He extended grace even to those who dehumanized him.
And showed respect to those who had done nothing to deserve it.
Showed respect to those who had done nothing to deserve it.
These were the very qualities
These were the very qualities
that made him our lead negotiator.
that made him our lead negotiator.
Qualities that I and so many of us lacked.
Qualities that I and so many of us lack.
For the sake of our movement,
For the sake of our movement,
Mahmoud took on the burden
Mahmoud took on the burden
of negotiating with Columbia administration
of negotiating with Columbia administration
and constantly de-escalating when they refused to meet us in good faith.
constantly de-escalating when they refused to meet us in good faith.
The university should have been grateful
The university should have been grateful
that he stepped in
that he stepped
to
in
negotiate a resolution
to negotiate a resolution
over and over and over.
over and over and over.
Instead, they
Instead,
chose to call the NYPD on us
they chose to call the NYPD on us
3 times in 1 year.
3 times in 1 year.
And in the end,
And in the
their
end,
answer was not dialogue.
the answer was not dialogue.
Mahmoud's abduction by ICE.
Mahmoud's abduction by ICE.
Shame!
Shame!
The day before his abduction,
The day before his abduction,
Mahmoud sent an email to Columbia president
Mahmoud sent an email to Columbia president
asking for help.
asking for help.
It is hard to adequately convey
It is hard to adequately convey
how my heart broke reading his words.
how my heart broke reading his
He
words.
never showed fear to any of us.
He never showed fear to any of us.
And I realize now,
And I realize now,
he did this purely for our sake.
he did this purely for our sake.
In the email,
In the email,
he said that Columbia professor Shai Davidai
he said that Columbia professor Shai Davidai
and Zionist students like David Lederer
and Zionist students like David Lederer
had subjected him to a vitriolic doxxing campaign
subjected him to a vitriolic doxing campaign
that made him fear for his safety.
that made him fear for his safety.
He said he was scared that ICE would take him.
He said he was scared that ICE would take him.
The reality is,
The reality
the
is,
vicious doxing by Columbia affiliates that has been ongoing for the last 1.5 years
ongoing for the last 1.5 years,
has never been taken seriously.
has never been taken seriously.
But people do not realize
But people do